Hey everyone, it's Ollie, and I am back for another Top 5 Wednesday. Topic for today, the 25th of May, is characters you defend. Now, I sort of took this as characters that are sort of underestimated and people sort of look down on them for various reasons, and they just seem like people don't really like them. Some of them are probably likable characters, but I was having sort of a tough time um, making this list because all the characters I would usually defend, everyone else would too. So yeah. So this is starting from the least problematic to the most, probably. Again, calendar is wrong. Gonna fix it by next video. Promise. Promise. Number 5. My number 5 character that I would defend is Neville from Harry Potter. A lot of people see him as weak, as uncourageous, and just not Gryffindor material, but I would defend him because he's just a great character, and despite his shortcomings, his story is fantastic, and people don't give him as much credit as he deserves. I mentioned this in a previous video, but just the fact that in the third book slash movie, Neville's boggart is Snape, and just the fact that he faces Snape like every single day, that's brave as hell, and I don't think many people realize that, and he is just great, and I love him. One of my favorite Harry Potter characters. Number 4. My number 4 character that I defend is Simon from the Mortal Instruments. A lot of people see him as annoying and just the generic nerdy type, and sort of the guy that pines for the main protagonist. But I don't know, I just really love Simon as a character. I think he's hilarious, and I feel like not that many people hate him, but still, I've heard multiple times that he's annoying and such, so I don't think he is, so yeah. Number 3. My number 3 character that I would defend is Ravenpaw from the Warrior series. Ravenpaw is a shy, timid character, much like Neville. He's only in a few of the books, in the first series at least, and something happens which I'm not going to spoil, but people think he is a coward because of what he did. But I think that action that he did that everyone thinks makes him a coward is actually brave. There's sort of not much else I can say without sort of spoiling it, so even though it's an older series, I don't really want to spoil it for people who want to read it. So yeah, Ravenpaw, he's underestimated because he's shy, but I really like his character. Number 2. Number 2 character that I would defend is Viola from the Chaos Walking trilogy. I chose Viola because it seems like not that many people actually like her. I mean, I'm assuming a lot of people do, but not as much, if that makes any sense. People deem her as annoying, much like the other characters, and just sort of unoriginal, and plain and stuff like that, but I actually really enjoyed her character when I was reading the series. And while we know a little bit about her background and just a little bit about her in general, but we don't know a lot of things, like a lot of her interests. And I feel like since the majority of the series is sort of written in Todd's voice, so we sort of know what he's into, at least more so than Viola. A lot of people also didn't like their relationship in the books, but I personally really enjoyed it. I wish they didn't sort of drag it throughout the books like they did. Um, they sort of did it as like a finale, if that makes sense. Like all of these things, and it was really slow building, and I don't know. Sometimes slow building is good. In this case, it wasn't bad, but I would have liked to see more action between them because I thought they were really cute, and just sort of how this series ended on a whole sort of, when I finished it, it made me crave more interaction between those two. So, yeah. And number one. My number one character that I will defend is kind of controversial. Um, he's not really a well liked character, but I actually recently figured out that I enjoy him quite a lot. And that is Varys from Game of Thrones / A Song of Ice and Fire. I've only read the first book, but I've watched all of the show. Like I'm caught up. That latest episode though, I'm not even going to talk about it. I believe I would defend Varys because despite his tough upbringing as a eunuch, he is really sassy and he's really quippy, and he knows all of these things, and he it's sort of hard to describe. He has like a very regal feel to him, but also a little bit humble at the same time. And I don't know, I think him and Tyrion are a good match in terms of like dialogue and friendship. Um, so they have quite a bit of humor in between them, and I just love it so far. And I don't know, I just think his character's great. Like many of the characters, there are some things that I don't like about him, but he just happens to be one of my favorite characters at the moment, at least at this point in the show. Obviously, he's not my number one favorite character. Um, there are sort of a lot more characters in front of him in terms of my favorites, but yeah. So, that being said, feel free to leave comments below and tell me, what characters do you defend? I would really like to know. I'm curious. So that's it for this week, and I'll see you all for my next Top 5 Wednesday video. Bye!